Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rand and Tone Show. I am your host, Big Rand, along with my homeboy, Tony Tone, is on my left-hand side.
Good evening, people. What's going on, Terrence? Thanks for joining us this evening.
What's happening, brother? What's happening? So our discussion tonight is crime in the city. And prior to this, Tone and we had a real deep discussion on this, too, because he kind of wants to put tonight's show in a box, and I really didn't want to put it in a box
I
because
think you have it vice versa. You want it in the box.
no, I want it to be broadened because crime in the city doesn't matter if it's done by somebody like I said.
Okay.
Our crime right now has people throwing people on the train, people shooting abroad, and it's a lot of innocent children getting shot. These gun buybacks are happening. But the funny part about it is, like, someone told me the reason why these gun buybacks are hard and why they're not working is because most of the time the people who are bringing the guns to these buybacks are people who are bringing old guns out of the closet. And I have to, I have to agree to a certain extent. There's a lot of ghost guns going around. So many people are involved in organized crime. It's not just mental, man. This is happening. The world is shifting and changing before our eyes. And I don't think nobody's really paying attention. Some people will call it the last days. But like Tom said, we've been in our last days for the last 10 years. Shit, I've been in the last days, like he said, when your mama tell you. You heard it since your mama was coming up and your papa, we in our last days. So, I don't know. Something's wrong. Something is wrong. We can't put our finger on it. I don't think we're really trying to. It just seems like everything is done for a profit nowadays in order to get to what you need. And look, this is no shade on our politicians, our government, our police, because there's really nothing no one can do. I'm not talking that. I don't see anyone right now who has the ability to stop what's going on. I don't see anyone who has that ability. That ability, I don't think nobody really has that. They don't have that. They don't have that ability to stop what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, a lot of people is willing to get paid to try.
Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm listening to you.
It's just something wrong. It's just, it was one of those things like, you work in an environment where you get nothing but bad news, things all around you. I had such a overwhelming day with my children and the stuff that they're doing. I had to take the day to relax my nerves, to be thankful that my children are on a whole different schedule than the world. We're not different, but I appreciate a lot of things that they're doing, man. I appreciate it so much. It could be because there are a lot of parents who are not getting the same appreciation, who are going through trials and tribulations with their children.
Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Irrelevant. She just checked in with us.
What's happening, Irrelevant?
And Terrence had a comment.
What's up, Terrence?
He said guns
Mm-hmm.
need a number
Mm-hmm.
and a license
Mm-hmm.
and an identity
Mm-hmm.
attached to it.
Mm.
With a renewal every year because they selling them and not able to have it traced back.
Hmm.
That
Mm.
would be a lot of registration.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
If everybody that owned a gun renewed every year, well, you know what? We do cars.
Every year.
And there's thousands of cars out there.
Every year.
Yep,
We
I
do
kind of, yeah.
Every year.
I don't know if that would work. But what do you do about a legal gun? You ain't got to register it. What do you do about that, bro?
To me, I don't think there's such thing as a legal gun. I'm sorry.
There's no such thing as an illegal gun.
There's such thing as a legal gun. I don't see the purpose, even if a person doesn't have carry a certain license or things like that. I just don't see what an ordinary person would need with a gun. But you know, with the days and times nowadays, things are a little hectic. You know, I don't know. Guns are dangerous, man.
What's going on, Rel?
It's dangerous, man. We
Pops want to talk about gun control.
yeah.
And the lack thereof.
The reason why I always say I like to talk about these things is because it's what it's doing to our community, is what it's doing to our children. The reason why our community doesn't flourish because a lot of our innocent children are being gunned down by innocent bullets. How can a community strive if 90% of, I'm going to say 90%, I'm always putting a number on things. Let's not put a number on tonight. I'm going to try my best not to put a number on tonight. I was a little overwhelmed, and I'm pretty sure there are going to be a lot of people at work who are going to be like, man, you know, it's not enough. But, man, when you're going through something, and I don't want to put a lot of my personal things out, but there are times where I got to stop. I got to stop what I'm doing, and I have to take the time, and I have to focus on my family. And I haven't, as a person who hasn't been able to do that lately because I'm striving to do other things, I had to stop. I had to stop and realize, because sometimes if you're not paying attention, that's what deters a child or another human being in another direction. And I think that's what the world is missing. We don't get a lot of love. I don't think we give enough respect. And because of that, the crime rate is starting to hit an all-time high. Then I don't think what we're seeing is actually the truth. And like I said, this is not a blame to the politicians. This is not a blame to the government. This is not a blame to our police department. This is something that's happening within our communities. Like, these people are coming straight out of our environment.
Well, one thing is not local. I don't think it's local. One thing I hit on that you said initially was being overwhelmed. I've heard that a lot lately. That causes a lot of confusion, a lot of misjudgment on a lot of things. You got to think of what we went through in the past 3 years. Just that period right there.
True.
On how it drove people to doing certain things.
True.
That they wouldn't ordinarily do.
But it's not even about hunger anymore. This is way past people being hungry. This is about something else. The world is moving in a whole different direction. We're not even moving in the direction of the Bible. I could have said before we were moving maybe 5 steps behind the Bible. We're not even moving in that direction anymore. It's like right now, in the way the world looks and the way things are happening, the devil is having his way. And the people are concurring to what the devil is saying. When he step up, they're saying, yeah, if we're inviting you into this situation. I know because he have knocked on my door on several occasions, and I had to push myself. I was very overwhelmed today, man. Very. I've been seeing so much bad all around me that when my children all got a chance to see the light, that made me feel real good, where I had to sit down and thank God that a lot of my children, they could be going in a whole different direction.
Well, Rel says that the world is spinning faster.
Spinning faster. Come on, man.
It's spinning faster, and I was thinking about that while you was talking, because everything is moving really fast.
It's moving
really fast. You also, as the world is like a bad cut, it's gonna look bad before it gets bad.
Hey, Miss Clark. Long time no see, no hear. Hey, Miss Clark. One of our famous black authors, Miss Clark. Yes, she is. She's famous, 174th Street author, Miss Clark. How are you, Miss Clark? Thank you for tuning in. Yeah. It is. Listen, I as a person who's been who walked these concretes, I'm telling you, what I'm seeing right now is it might be worse than what I saw growing up. And mind you, I grew up around abandoned buildings. We had nothing. We had absolutely nothing. The kids today have much more today than what we had growing up. More parks, more playgrounds, more indoor events. more tournaments. You got hockey, soccer. We didn't have that growing up, man. And this is how these kids take advantage of that. Riding the trains, you could read the latest news was on graffiti. You ain't have billboards on your trains and on your buses, and you know what I'm saying? Now you can ride your motorcycle without no goddamn plates, insurance, and I mean, this is crazy.
I don't think that's a good thing based on the accident statistics.
True, but it's happening. This is what I'm saying. Crime is not just somebody getting murdered. Crime is just not anybody not following the law.
Crime is just them doing shit that we couldn't do when we were young.
Yeah, it's getting outrageous. Where most of you could sit on YouTube from at home and make millions of dollars, you still choose to go out there, rob, steal, and hurt. You have an opportunity to sit in front of your desk, cameras, everything. The same thing Tony and I do, everybody can do if they wish to do. If you wish to do your own music at home, most of you have built your own home studios and been very successful on YouTube. Most of you have been YouTubers who have become very successful. Platforms are there, people, but yet we still killing each other. Wow, what's going on? What is it? Can't be money?
There's some of us that can't find something to do.
Something is wrong.
And there are some of us that is their life. Their life is not to podcast or to build.
Miss Clark, I wish we could get you back. I mean, not going to say wish. I'm waiting for you to come back on our show, Miss Clark.
I want to see if there's a book 3. I think I missed a book.
Hell, I still want to talk about 1 and 2. I want to talk about everything. I want to catch up. Miss Clark, please come on the show. We miss you. We miss you. You can go and find Miss Clark. She was one of our first original guests of Living Room TRT, and I want to really thank her tonight. You can find her on our YouTube channel. If you go to our YouTube channel, she's right up there with Mr. Sleep. Sleep, it's happening, baby. But getting back to our program, I'm just saying at this point, there's not a politician, there's not a government official, there's not the mayor, police officers. No one can stop what's happening going on right now in the 5 boroughs. Crime is at its all-time high. They don't know who to chase. Every time you turn on the news, it's a child getting shot, innocent child. Like we gotta stop that. We gotta stop taking out our innocent child because that's what's hurting our communities. The more we keep taking out innocent children and things like that, our communities don't have a chance to build. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on tonight. I'm just very passionate about. For the first time in my life, I can see growth around me. Like people don't see the growth between 138th Street and Southern Boulevard going all the way up to the Bronx Zoo. In between the Brooklyn Boulevard, and I'm going to come all the way over towards 3rd Avenue. All in between there going up has all been renewed. New buildings, new apartments, new parks, new playgrounds, new schools, new homes, everything. How are we going to do? Why are we finding this so hard? Okay, Miss Clark said the devil's walking these streets. Just jumping the people. You ain't lying, Miss Clark. He jumping like a mother. Man, he jumping so hard, he ain't even got to skip on the jump. He taking the leap.
He ain't got to skip on the jump.
He ain't got to skip on the jump. Sometimes you got to get your foot together to make that leap. Nah, he already leaping before the foot is together. Our crime is at an all-time high. It's getting so effective. Like, right now, what do you think would happen if they really get an opportunity to close Rikers? Do we really want to close Rikers Island right now? Yes, we are losing a lot of our inmates. Yes, we are. And it's a tragic thing. So closing down the system instead of revamping the system, you think is the answer?
But I'm thinking they're saying they can revamp better if they rebuild elsewhere and give each county their own.
Well, they changed with the times.
Like it once was.
Change with the times. How can you expect to get modern results if you're still having the old time prison system?
That's why they want to get rid of it.
But you don't get rid of it, modernize it. How about take the time, if you could take the time, and I'm not pointing fingers again, but I gotta say what I say, if you got time to bring in all these damn immigrants and place them in these places where you can place them. Why you can't take time to fix the 5 boroughs, man? Why you can't take the time? Come on, you got it. Listen, I'm not saying that, like I said, not point fingers, because it's not their fault. This right here is a community thing, and they're part of our community, whether they want to be or not. Even if they don't step their foot in our community, they're part of our community because they take community money. And we have to stop always believing that our politicians need to make moves for us. We have to start making moves for ourselves. In order for people to stop pushing people on the train, we got to try to. It's so hard to catch these people in the act, but man, come on, this is crazy. We went through this pandemic before, remember? Early 80s. People was pushing people on the trains. Remember that?
That's what I was saying before. That this is not.
It's not. I know it's not new, but the point is because we are more modernized.
We should be able
to handle. Yes, we're more well equipped. We got to stop being afraid of using our modern technology. You know, you're right. Jail is not the answer, brother.
Give me an example
right.
of what would you do to help seize some of this.
I see you, Miss Clark. I'm coming with you. They said, Miss Clark says they can give each borough their own smaller jail, but put them in the industrial areas. That's right. They can.
That's what their plan was, from what I understand. That's the way it was before. Remember we had the Bronx house over here?
Right. The way it's away from the residential area and business zones, and one will be affected. No one will be affected, but it's still are reachable. I don't think they should be reachable, but I do understand what you're saying. We should have something like the floating boat all around the borough.
Let me go back. So wait a minute. He said jails is not the answer. Not the answer.
There is a lot of industrial space in each area, Ms. Clark. It is. But even if you put them in these industrial places, these people, you know, have used these industrial places so bad, you don't even know if you're sitting on a toxic site. It's the truth. We have abused. Some of our authorities have been abused so bad, and we have not been able to really take control and look at what the people are facing and what we need, that we're so worried about taking from each other. They're helping us rip each other apart. And who are they? The less fortunate. And people say, well, the less fortunate is the have-not. No, the less fortunate are the people who are willing to listen, think, and understand. That, to me, is what the less fortunate is. It's not the people who have, because there's rich people who are less fortunate.
Really?
Yeah, man, rich people don't have the ability to think or do. Some people, rich or poor, this, like you always said to me, ignorance has no limitation. Ignorance doesn't come with the rich or the poor. But I agree with you, Ms. Clark. And we did have, at one time, where each borough had their own. We had the Bronx house and things like that. Each borough did have their own personal jail of that matter, but you know, see, and like I tell people, I don't care how many jails you open up, it's how you maintain your system. It's not right because that's bad
cheaper
to maintain the system.
No, it'd be cheaper to rebuild than like you was talking about Rikers Island.
Yeah, but see, my whole thing that you rebuild, right?
No, I'm talking about as far as you saying why they can't fix Rikers Island.
Because the problem is where you're going to get the money from.
The money is there, but they see it more profitable to put the jails in individual places to start new. That's what I'm trying to tell you. How you going to start new in an old jail? That's what they're saying. Why not start new in 5 new jails for the 5 boroughs and start a whole new system that you can start from scratch?
The whole thing is not about starting from scratch. See, this is the problem.
You just said to rebuild Rikers Island.
People keep running from the problem. If you keep thinking you're going to rebuild, it's going to stop these inmates from dying in these cells.
You made a point.
Okay, but I'm trying to make another point to you. That it's not the jailhouse that's the problem. It's the people who maintain the jailhouse. I don't care how old the building is. If it's not maintained properly or kept up to standard, how do you expect inmates to strive or learn anything or do reform or get rehabilitated if there's no type of programs like that available modernly, where you probably got maybe one person sharing one computer and they're fighting over that?
Where is this at?
This
That
is the
there's no
Rikers.
programs. There's no programs of Rikers.
I'm not saying that there are no programs that they're not learning. Of course, there's programs. What I'm saying to you is maybe you need to revamp the head of the people who is running it and stop trying to revamp Rikers. That's what I'm saying.
That's one and the same.
It's not the one and the same. It's not the one and the same because two minds do not think alike. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just stumbled, huh?
No, I didn't stumble. I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I just don't.
Okay.
I believe if they started a new system and they are putting new people in these new places, they're not gonna they're gonna take the old people and put them in the new places.
Well, here's the thing. It's the old people that got the place looking the way it is now.
And what did I just
So
say?
my thing is, I heard what you said. You said if they put new people
Right.
in new places.
And with a new system. With the benefits that you say that they really need. The help, the assistance, the counseling, and all of that.
Well, now, when you spread all of this out,
Yeah.
who is going to pay for all of this to be
The
done?
money is not the problem.
The money is the problem because sooner or later...
How is the money the problem when the inmates are the commodity?
Because they don't earn anything.
They don't have to earn it. They get money for holding them. The money is not the issue. If you ever seen on any of the rebuilding, they never said the money was the issue, unless it costs too much to do one thing and someone else has a better way to do it for less money.
True, I will agree with that.
That's basically what it is.
That one
Instead
back-
of to rebuild Rikers
That one
Island,
backed me up. Go
instead
ahead.
of rebuilding Rikers Island, why not make 4 separate ones that can be equipped with all the things that they're saying Rikers Island is
Because
missing?
these 4 separate ones, now you got to put them in different environments. Now you got to, it depends on where you put
Everybody
it.
housed their own. Bronx housed their
Yeah,
own.
but it depends on where you put it.
Well, putting it, that's
But just
that's
like Ms.
all-
Clark says,
No, I agree with that.
each
There is space. That's what she's saying.
Yeah, there is space.
I agree with that.
But my thing was that the space that they put them on, you don't know what's underneath.
That's why they have these millions and millions of dollars to go see what's underneath, to build structures.
To me, I don't
Look
think.
at, okay, what about out by Orchard Beach area, going towards that? That's
Right.
a lot of empty space, but they say a lot of that is swamp, correct?
It is.
Okay.
Because that used to be our garbage stuff. When you remember when you first, if you remember when City Island, I don't want to say when it first opened up because City Island was always there as I can remember as a child. But when you first walk in, that entrance there used to be a city dump site. Before because it was always rumored that Co-op City, and no shout out to anybody who lives in Co-op City, but it was always rumored that Co-op City was built on a swamp. That it potential that it could be sinking.
They've said
I mean,
that 20, 30 years ago.
And it's still there, but who knows what is what? My
And
thing
like
is,
you said, with the technology and everything we have now,
but the whole thing is that why is it Rikers the only jail that's really going through that? You don't hear that about no other facilities really going through that right now.
Rikers has been a headache for so many years.
Well,
So somebody's trying to come up with a more profitable. Somebody's going to profit
Do
from
you
all
think
this transition.
Do you think the reason why they have the money and the money is not the problem because they kept the money and didn't spend it?
No.
Where did the money go?
No, I think it is because the commodity is always going to pay for itself.
You
The
know-
commodity is the inmate.
The thing is that you got hundreds and hundreds of, not hundreds, you got so many people making hundreds and hundreds of thousands who sit in these decisions to make these decisions,
Right,
to make
sit in them
these,
offices.
to sit in these offices, to make these inmates comfortable, and why it's not being done. So if you're not spending the money, and I had to really think about what you said, and you're right, Ms. Clark, he's exactly right. I had to think about what you said, and you're right about the money. So I had to really come back. I had to think about that. You were exactly right. So if the money's there, you've been sitting on the money all this time, knowing that this jail, this facility needed to be revamped, remodernized, and everything else. Why didn't you do it?
Because it wasn't financially.
But you just
sound.
said the money was there, so financially
It wasn't,
sound.
but it wasn't financially sound to throw it away on Rikers Island. Everybody has to be in agreement, and some people are saying, listen, if you want to throw, let's just say $500 million on a dead horse or whatever you want to call it, no. Why don't we take that, put that in different communities? We also add jobs in these different communities. Now the Bronx is going to need people for the Bronx house.
True.
So now everybody ain't got to travel out to Rikers Island when our people's right here in the Bronx that you want to visit.
I don't have a problem with them putting anything anywhere. The problem what I have is that it's not. It just has to be maintained. If you're telling me that the money was no problem and it's always been there, then I have to go back to my original argument of you have to replace the people on top because you're not using the money wisely. It's just like as me being a father and my woman being the head of the household. If one of us is not using the money properly, why the other one's going to allow the other one to continue to spend frivolously, if that's a word?
What if the other party doesn't know better than the one that's?
But that's why you have two parties who think different. And this is I bring my situation up because even though my woman makes her own money and I make my own money, we still think about it as ours. Okay. So if my woman says to me, well, if I buy something, she's not going to say, well, you can't buy it. But if it doesn't work out, she will say, well, you knew you shouldn't have bought that in the first place. That wasn't financially sound for you to do. So
that's what's going on with it.
Yeah, but the point is that there's no one even spending it frivolously. You're not spending it at all. So you're sitting on.
We don't know what's being spent. We just know.
You just said to me that
we just know it's no improvements. I'm sorry. We just know that the improvements that we're requesting is not being made. But then you also got it. That goes back to that's who we vote for.
See, and that's my whole thing too, because it's hard to say.
That's who we vote for.
You vote for somebody, but that doesn't necessarily see. My whole thing is I always bring this back when it comes to money being spent. I always go into the comp controller. Most people believe that if you put a politician who with words that come out of his mouth, nobody can get past the comp controller. So whoever the comp controller is for Rikers is the person who's dishing out that money for the system to be done. I'm just not understanding if the money is there. Why does it take this long to revamp? I'm not saying that. Listen,
it's not one person that could flip that switch.
Maybe it should be done, because if it's a group
of individuals, want to put all that power in one man's hands?
Yeah, but the power that you're putting in the hands of the man right now ain't helping.
It ain't in the one man's hands.
But that's my point.
Okay,
the group.
So you're gonna eliminate the group.
Well, look what the group is doing.
Okay, if you can't trust the group, how you gonna trust the one man?
Damn, you elect the president and he don't even get to make decisions by himself.
No.
So my whole thing is this group thinking ain't working out, is it?
That's why they say the presidency is not just one man.
That's why music groups don't last long. The ones that do last long are the ones who are able to politically stand together, and that's the truth. And politically doesn't mean about what goes on within the government. I mean politically about what goes on in their circle. And because their circle is tight, their group gets to stay together longer. My son always reminds me, and shout out to you, Irrelevant, he always tells me about my pops with the rubber band. He said, man, you keep stretching the rubber band, sooner or later the rubber band's going to pop. But what I didn't realize is that sooner or later people do leave the rubber band to create their own rubber band. So that's how your rubber band, it does expand for a while, but it does come back to its original size, original shape, because the people who were first in the rubber band, they step out of the rubber band and create their own rubber band.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Then they come out with spandex. But anyway, Rel had a couple of things he was saying. He said the money is there, but they don't care to fix it up because it's a profit.
It is a profit.
They only gone break it down because now they can control the inner city. Oh, the inner city better. That's why they're gonna break it down. I didn't think about that, Rel. Well, control has to come from somewhere based on what your father's saying. He's saying there's no control. What happens when there's no control, Rel?
I don't know, because does it seem like there's control right now?
I mean, it's kept at a limit. I don't know if you want to say at a limit, but there is some control.
I'm just saying, if you're telling me, well, not that you're telling me, but if the fact is that there is money, if there is money, okay, that's a fact. If there is
money,
it's hard for me to believe that you can have that type of millions of dollars to spend on a prison system to modernize it, to reform your inmates so that when they come out, they don't. Okay, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Thanks for checking in, Sharice. We will get back with you on the upcoming show, and looking forward to the following book. You have a good evening.
Have a good evening, Mr. Rock. Yes. No, that's okay. So I'm just saying at this point, you're right. There's people there who do control this money. This money has not been spent on the prison, and a lot of the people, if you look at the news, who have committed these crimes are people who've been released under some type of act, or they weren't.
Well, there's been a couple of acts that came out, especially the Marijuana Act. Everybody's people who have.
That's a whole other story too.
No, but I'm just saying it's following right what you're saying. You're saying people are being released. That's one of the main ones they're being released for. All the non-violent crimes that they're releasing now, and just having you go through I was about to say outpatient, having you go to court from outside instead of being inside.
Having you go in the court from the outside instead of being on the inside. I don't know. And like I said, I'm not pointing no finger, because you can't really point the finger. Why? You can't point the finger at no one. There's no one to point the finger at. No one.
So people committing crimes, they're not at fault.
Man, I like what Sharice Clark said. Right now, the devil's jumping from people to people, man. This is not just about our leadership. This is happening on all levels. Like, leaders are killing leaders, and bottom feeders are killing bottom feeders. It's what it is right now. Everything is out of control. It's to the point where you right now, where we lost so many rappers in months, that job might be a hazardous occupation for a black man to be a rapper, man.
Being a rapper?
Hell yeah.
I got a special report that came in about a man hijack an NYC bus using a BB gun, crashes into a utility pole.
See what I'm trying to tell you? This ain't nothing about where was he going to do? He was going to sell the bus, get it painted? What you was going to do? Get it chopped up?
So you saying is that mental health?
I'm not telling you if that's mental health, or is there somebody looking for a reputation, or is somebody just listen? Right. He could have had it, because 9 out of 10 times people do things like that with cameras to put on YouTube.
You gonna go to jail for YouTube?
Man, people go to jail for less.
Yeah, I had to think about it. What if that could be? I'm gonna put it on a different basis. What if he's not mental, and he's not crazy, and he's not trying to go on YouTube? What if he's somebody that's been released and can't deal with society and just did that just to go back?
Yeah, so many people, but this goes back to why you didn't spend the money in prison. Because now you are releasing.
I didn't spend the money in prison.
Hold on, you just said they was being released. They're being released.
Wait. I'm talking about this was a guy who I'm saying hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
What if this was somebody who spent most of his years in jail? I'm not talking about somebody new that just.
And I'm gonna say what I said again. This is when you don't spend the money to modernize or revamp our prison system, and these people do come out, and their reform is not justified, or it's not what I would call society standard qualifications.
But you can't judge each case the same.
I'm not trying to judge.
This individual will be different from that one because he probably didn't follow up with what he was supposed to do.
I'm not trying to judge each individual the same. I'm trying to give each individual his own lane. And because that a lot of these people, like I said, are being released from prison, what's going on in our system? The prison is for you to be reformed.
Rehabilitated.
Reform and rehabilitated. Are they the same thing, or are they different?
Yeah.
Does reform mean after the fact? Because the same thing is rehabilitation, right? No?
Seemed to me, yeah.
Okay.
I go with that.
Okay. You go, my brother, I appreciate it. So what I'm saying to you is if they're not being rehabilitated inside, and you're sending them back out into society,
which is a choice.
So a person has to want to be rehabilitated,
right?
Be rehabilitated. Excuse me. So what happens if he does it and he's in prison? He doesn't want to be.
That means he's just doing his time to get out.
He just do his time to get out, and the Should he be allowed to do that?
Of course, it's because once you do the crime, you do your time. You've done your time. That's it.
See, that means he got freedom on the inside.
Why would you say freedom on
because
the inside?
He's free to make it. See, the whole thing, that's the problem.
I'm listening.
You got freedom on the inside. If you choose to do none, I just choose to do. No, you can't just do your time.
No, well,
buddy.
You can't. Wait.
No, you can't just do your time.
Wait a minute. I'm not talking about because you can't. You have to do some type of program or something.
No, he's gonna. Do you got school? If you don't have school, you're going to school. See, this is the problem with the system.
They can't make you go to school.
Listen, man. Hold on. Now we have two different.
Okay. Want me to tell you what the consequences?
Yeah, because
the consequences of not programming can cause you not to be paroled.
Y'all still doing the podcast?
So most people.
Oh yeah.
Didn't I tell you that?
Yeah, he always does.
Most people Most people try to program. The ones that do want to get out, have family out there waiting for them and all that kind of thing. You want to program so when you go to parole board, they see what you did in here. Oh, you participated with the programs, you did this, you earned this type of certificate or degree, because before you could go to college, I don't know about now, and get degrees and all of that.
Listen, the reason why you go to jail is if you go to prison. I don't want to say jail and prison are two different things, but the reason why you go to prison is because you didn't do right on the outside.
Right.
That even goes for myself.
Right.
But I'm telling you that if you're on the inside, there's no way that you should be able to make a choice of what you want to do. No. Whatever you're lacking in, that's where they should put you. And I think I can understand your rebuttal about forcing someone to do something they don't want to do. But my point is, if that was the case and you didn't want to do what you want to do, you didn't want to be in here. You're in here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're in here, you're under my jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I do get it. There are a lot of inmates who definitely control the
be on the chain gang and chop them rocks.
You don't have to be on no chain gang and chop no rocks, man.
That's what you saying. You saying you gonna work.
Man, they should be doing
Ain't that what you
chain gang and chop the rocks. Ain't nobody do that anymore, man.
Well,
they need to listen. You need to
how you say the word that you like to say again. That's yes and no.
You need to revamp the prisons, man. Maybe you should allow congregational visits. Maybe you won't have certain activities that go on inside.
Then prison wouldn't be prison if everybody could get just like a visit.
My whole point, you have to find a way to revamp because there's just as much crime inside that is on the outside.
By you not having your loved ones there should be the motivation for you to do better, to go out to get back.
Sometimes you have to make new loved ones in your enviirment. You always say to me, you said, okay, see, I'm not even gonna laugh at that one.
Hey,
I'm not. No, I ain't
it's
gonna
reality.
Get that. I'm just trying to say that. I'm trying to say that they need.
You said it.
If they want what's going on the inside of prisons, they have to revamp and remodernize prison system, law. Everything else, you have to allow. My thing is, I don't see nothing wrong with having a bisexual prison. The worst that could come out of it, you might have people fall in love. You might have children that born out of wedlock. But hell, you have the same shit going on the outside.
Bisexual prison where men and women in the same prison.
Yes.
Walking through the same child halls and all of that.
Man, listen, I understand about the.
Why not live in there instead of being in the street?
But that's my point. If you're gonna do this, if you're inside doing the same thing you're doing on the outside, where's the revamp?
But that means people will be living. So why don't everybody just do a crime and go to jail if they can get taken care of for free?
My point was not that you don't get the same freedom as you do on the outside.
What freedom would you need if you and your woman do the same crime, but y'all spend time together in jail? Where's the punishment?
To me, I don't see nothing wrong.
Where's the punishment?
You can't go anywhere.
You don't need to go nowhere. Your woman's right there.
So you say if you was in a 6x9 with a woman, you could do your time?
Of course. What are you talking about? What do you think they dream about the whole time they're there?
Yeah, that would stop a lot of other behavior that goes on in prisons and things. Maybe that would be more prisons,
but that would be threesomes and all that themselves.
But maybe that will help that individual to reform.
Maybe that'll help the individual. Let us keep his ass out on the street and go lay down with his girl instead of sticking somebody else.
What I'm saying to you is maybe finding love in a different form, in a different environment. Sometimes,
If that's what you choose in jail, that's
I'm
on
just
you.
saying something has to happen because what's happening right now ain't working.
It can work.
It's not working.
I know. That's why they're trying to make
What
change.
can be shall be ain't.
But we will.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we gonna pay some bills. We supposed to pay some bills.
Hold on, before you do that.
Hold on, go ahead.
Rail said, you want to know where and how the money is being spent. That's not information we ever gonna get.
Never.
Well, we get what they want us to know there, Rail.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do crimes based on circumstances. That's true too. Not being able to deal with society is a mental disability.
That is true.
That's what I was saying before. That we're sometimes even being out, and you're not used to. Because I had a friend that did that.
But so if you're a man and there's a woman in prison with you, that's infection, man. That he can use that probably will calm him down and bring him love and joy and. Maybe you don't know. You got to try something. If you try it, why don't you just try it?
Try something that makes sense. What kind of punishment is that?
Well, what kind of results?
So you just killed 3 people. You can spend the rest of your life with your.
But what kind of results are you getting? Well, listen, maybe there's a woman who's spending life in jail too. You got to understand what I'm saying. This ain't about you taking your woman from the outside in.
You don't deserve love and compassion after you don't kill the whole family.
Man, what are you talking
don't
about?
kill the whole family, and now you want love and compassion.
That's not our choice to decide who gets to receive love and passion after what type of sin they commit. That's up to God. Don't step.
They didn't get there yet.
Don't step in front of God. It doesn't matter.
I'm not stepping in front of them. They're paying for their punishment. That's why they have jail.
When man judge, God doesn't approve all the time. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree with
so
you.
It's not to me to say that a person, because he killed the family, he doesn't deserve to have love because he's on the inside.
No, he can definitely have love, but you're not
just
going to have
said
it
no.
with
You just said no.
You're not going to have it with you.
But I'm telling you that if you have a woman prison and you have a man prison, and they're both, you have one person doing life and a woman doing life, what is that? Oh. If you have a man doing life and a woman doing life, and they don't even know each other and they fall in love in prison, what is the problem with that?
As long as they fall in love on paper.
See, that's my whole thing.
I'm saying the reality. I'm not talking, you talking
yeah, but
I'm
trying to tell you that
that's
a lot of
reality.
things. I'm telling you that a lot of things that happen to people is because people see light at late. Some people just see light late. Some people just don't get reality right off the bat. Sometimes it takes several things to happen for a person to realize I'm in a bad situation. Everybody's not going to always see it the way people want it to be seen. You got to try something. With you, all females and all men jails, it's not working. People are still getting hurt. We're still going through a situation where men are raping men, women are raping women. Maybe if you would try unisex, just try it. Try a unisex prison. What is going to hurt? What is it going to hurt other than you having babies? And you're having babies anyway in all male jails because the female guards are sleeping with the male. And the male guards are sleeping with the female. So it's happening any goddamn way.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing?
Put that in the suggestion
box. Put that in the suggestion box. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to get you a good hammer. You need to get you a good nail. Hell, if you just want a goddamn good screwdriver, go to Aztec's Hardware Store, located at 709 Mace Avenue, Bronx, New York, right between White Plains Road and Kruger Avenue. Telephone number 347-843-0222.
You see how you put on a hammer and a chisel right when we talking about jail, right?
Yeah, well, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hopefully they don't poke my car. But anyway, like I said,
with the same screwdriver they bought
from Aztec's Hardware.
Aztec's Hardware.
Aztec Hardware, located 709 Mace Avenue, Bronx, New York, between White Plains and Kruger. Telephone number 347-843-0222. And tonight we got again, ladies, if you want to get your hair did, make sure you go see It Girl Hair at 936 Sheridan Avenue, Bronx, New York. 936 Sheridan Avenue, Bronx, New York. That's right down the block from Criminal Court. I shouldn't have to mention that.
What's the name of it again?
It Girl Hair.
Because when you come out there, they're going to say, that's it, girl.
That's it, girl. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to. They're gonna pay us for that one.
Mm-hmm.
It Girl Hair, 936 Sheridan Avenue. You can get a variety of hair textures, transparent lace closure, frontals, lace wigs, and more, starting at $60 per bundle. You can also catch them online. They look like they're on Twitter and everything else. Go check them out. And, ladies and gentlemen, if you're trying to get your phone fixed, make sure you go to the BizWiz Tech, located on Intervale Avenue off of Southern Boulevard and Longwood Avenue. That's BizWiz Tech. Whew, that's a lot to do in the town. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program.
I wish you would talk to him about your phone. Anyway.
Terrence is hitting us up. Yo, Terrence, I love you, man. He got us all through it, hitting us up now. We all up, man. He hitting us up. Brother, hit us up. Appreciate y'all.
Pop is right. Try something new. Yeah, okay. That's not working, Terrence. That's not working. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they already. That's gonna mix up with the guys and girls already in the men prison.
Actually, Terrence is called Azteca. It's just Azteca. Azteca, Azteca Hardware now. That was funny too, Terrence. That's it, girl. That was funny. But it's called It's Girl Hair. But like I said, I was overwhelmed, man. So it was. I just had a lot going on at one time. I had to slow down, man. I had to slow down. Daughter's birthday today, and I just had to slow down. I was moving
Happy
so
birthday,
fast.
Boo.
Yeah. Shout out to Moon. Happy birthday to you. I just had to slow down. So I had to take a day. I needed to relax and enjoy my family. I haven't been able to enjoy my family in a long time, and partially that's my fault because I was too busy running, thinking that the money was more important than the love. And as you get older, you realize that's the biggest mistake you can ever make in your life. There's nothing more important than love, man. Love will bring you your riches, and it'll bring you your wealth.
Shoot, some people say love broke them down. Some people say love killed them.
No. And that's just you loving the wrong kind.
Well, that depends. Shoot, it maybe
that's a good
show.
He
wasn't loving the wrong kind. Maybe it wasn't a two-way street on the love.
I always said if an individual could get a certain amount of affection, maybe he wouldn't be so the way they are. Like I'm telling you, if you take these prisons and you give the most hardened criminals, man or woman, and you put them together in a living quarters, and you tell them, listen, you couldn't make it out there. Make that part of a program where you have a program where maybe you want to take 3 or 4 inmates at a time and put them in a cell with living conditions where they can do the washing their clothes and hanging up, and give them the TVs and give them a life that they could do. You're doing life. Try it. It might work. You might produce something, but the catch is this. And I want to say this, and I don't want to take this from anyone who's but the whole thing is, I don't think at this point you should be allowed to have children. So if you go into this program, you have to go into this program
with a vasectomy.
With a vasectomy on both sides.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Let me
Yes.
throw something at you. Okay. How you think you would feel if, like, okay, let's be hypothetical. Somebody killed another man's wife, then went to jail. So do you honestly feel that he should be able to have a relationship and he took away yours?
Maybe that relationship will give him the capacity to understand what he really took from that man.
But what about what the man feels?
And I understand.
You should deserve to be able to have. Okay, should he have a right to say? Should he have the right? Should the man that the husband to the wife that he killed? Should he have any say at his trial to say whether he should have a relationship?
Everyone should have a right to. Everyone should have a right to face their accuser and their punisher.
Okay.
So yes, he should have a right to say what he feels. But my thing is, killing a man or killing a woman is a moral act that can, in my opinion, you can be judged by your peers, but you can only be forgiven by God. And if God decides that he wants to See, punishment doesn't always have to look in your eyes as somebody being beat down to have punishment. Punishment could be, yeah, I'm going to give you someone to love. To knowing that you love someone and have someone possibly do that to you, you will feel what you have taken from someone else. I do feel that in my heart.
I don't.
That's me.
That's my opinion.
That's me, because at some point,
I don't believe that person that killed your wife was so cold blooded. He's not gonna feel nothing about him being with somebody, knowing what he took from you. He ain't thinking about you. He said, "Oh, I'm glad shit. I should have been went to jail."
But you're asking
got a wife.
You're asking the man who's grieving and who's feeling like right now that man wants to jump on this man who just killed my wife. So his reaction.
I'm asking him that same question 10 years from now.
His reaction is always going to be, he doesn't deserve shit because he took it from me. That's a normal human reaction.
Okay.
But that's why I'm trying to tell you, whether he wants that to happen or not, if God decides, if he goes in prison to have a relation with a woman who's also doing life, and he gives him that type of program, and he finds that love.
Well, they do have people that find love like that, but they're just not together.
But I'm just saying, in that love, I'm saying not pen pals.
Go ahead.
I'm saying face to face. Forget the congregational visit. I'm talking about waking up in prison with that person.
Mm-hmm.
If that person realizes that, yo, he's working up with somebody he loves, and that's taken away from him in prison or whatever, how you feel, he's going to realize sooner or later what he took from that man. And the punishment may not be where he has to sit in the corner. The punishment may be the pain of living with the fact that you took something that you shouldn't have took.
Okay, hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
What is the hell is this? What is the Darrell Brooks case?
That's a good one.
Because he said it sounds like the Darrell Brooks case.
Okay, I'm just look up Darrell Brooks. Darrell Brooks. The Darrell Brooks case. Darrell Brooks. Okay, here we go. Darrell Brooks. What? Darrell Brooks guilty of all 6 times.
Guilty of all 6 homicide charges.
Homicide. Okay,
guilty of 76 counts. Damn.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Darrell Brooks next week. Thank you, Terrell, for the next story. What? I gotta look into it before I report it. Thank you, Terrence. Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate that. The Darrell Brooks story. That's interesting. Question is, who is Darrell Brooks? That was a good one. He done stopped the show for that. Made us look up Darrell Brooks.
I don't know if it's totally relevant because you was talking about allowing him to have. But this is somebody who did a mass killing. He ran in his car into 6 people. Well, into a bunch of people, and on Christmas parade.
And they might be allowing him to have. Okay, I understand.
They may be allowing him to have what? Will you see that? Oh, I must have read it for enough. But we'll talk about this next week.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it because this might be relevant to what we're talking about today. But anyway, thank you for that insight, bro. I appreciate that. Definitely do. I'll say he represented himself in court and lost, but he clearly needed a lawyer in my eye. This sound like he clearly needed a lawyer in his eye. Yeah, I think that's a lot. A lot of us try to supplement our intelligence with stupidity sometimes, thinking we can be lawyers. That's not normal for someone to do. But at this point, I'm just saying. Right now, we're in a days and time where the devil is not in control, but he's definitely showing his card. And I believe God is saying, listen, he's tired. I believe God is tired. I believe God is tired of trying to save us, keep us in line, because we're not showing him no type of love. And I believe he's allowing it. He's allowing it. It's like, listen, if this is what you want, I'm gonna show you what it's really like. And it's just getting worse because now the killers are going from our elderly now until our children, and this is it. This is it. If you go around the Bronx right now, you got to look at how many homes are for sale, how many apartments are for rent, but they can't rent them because the landlord doesn't have them up to to qualifications. But how can he get him up to qualifications if you ain't paying no rent? So it's a revolving door that this world is going through, man. It's like evil, good, evil, good, evil, good, evil, good, and right now it looks like evil is just outweighing the good right now.
Evil is like oxygen. It depends on how
sucks
much
it in, sucks it in.
It depends on how much you take in, and how much you dish out. You don't have to dish out evil, but everyone has the ability to.
Yes. I think that was another reason why I took today too. But sometimes you can feel yourself pushing buttons you shouldn't push. You know?
You have a choice.
I did, and I took a day.
Okay then.
I took a day, and I enjoyed. Man,
I hope you chose wisely.
I have to say this. I just appreciate the fact of how my family allows me to breathe when I need to breathe. How my job allows me to breathe when I need to breathe. I think I was telling somebody, other than what I feel in my workplace, I feel I'm surrounded by blame and death. When I'm at home,
blame and death.
When I'm at work, I feel like I'm surrounded by blame and death. When I'm at home, I feel like I'm surrounded by joy and sorrow. You know what I mean? Because I love going home because it's there, but the sorrow is I can't put us in a better place at that moment. You understand what I mean? Because the love is in through the doors. They don't even care that they living in that type of environment. You know what I mean? But it's me, as I finally got a chance to really look at myself and a lot of things in my age. You know, I look at myself as if you're supposed to be at a certain place at a certain age at a certain time.
Now, based on your standard.
Based on my standard, yes. And that's not something I'm just saying that I put on myself, not somebody who's my age. That's something I put on myself. And I realized when I did put that on myself, I started to become better. And I started to recognize who I was and what I was capable of doing. I'm rocking. You know, so shout out to those who love me. I love you back. Shout out to those who love me. I love you back. And that's real talk. Man, you've been listening to the Randy Tone Show. This was a deep conversation today, man. Yeah, this was a deep one today, man. Prison reform and prison life that's real deep.
Represented self in court, lost, but clearly needed a lawyer.
This is Darryl Brooks. Yeah, it's Darryl Brooks. That's the guy, Mr. Brooks. Yeah, we're gonna do. I'm gonna break out a special for Mr. Brooks, because it ain't every day you get a black man represent himself. And listen, Tone always had this thing about washing your hands and do all that. Make sure not only do you wash your hands, cleanse your mind, cleanse your body. Give yourself a break.
And keep a good check on your children, because there is a lot going on.
Yes, it is.
There's a what do they call it, a tridemic that's going on. It's the RSV with the COVID and the flu. So shortness of breath are the signs for our children. If they at any time shortness of breath and don't have asthma, you need to get them to a doctor. The symptoms is normally fever. It could be stomach ache, vomiting, shortness of breath, sometimes headache. Just keep an eye on the young ones, especially coming from school.
Is it life-threatening?
Well, by the news, yes, there are some children that went from being fine one day to be on a respirator the next day. I think the child was 8 months old. I'm not exactly sure of the age, but it is very serious. There's a lot of children's hospitals that are full right now due to this epidemic that's going on. So let's pay attention to our kids, y'all.
Pay attention to your kids, y'all.
And remember to wash your hands. Because whatever you don't wash off, you take home.
Remember to wash your hands. What in the world? And on that note, we're going to take 2 steps to the rear because the front of the bus is crowded.
This one of the buses only got 4 seats.
Yeah. Good night, y'all. Night, YouTube. Bow. See y'all later too, man.